Hi, this is Nolan from Benchmark, and what I'm going to do in today's video is give you guys a breakdown of the basics of GNSS. And this is going to be the first video in a little bit of a series that I'm going to do that talks about the basics around surveying and GPS so that you can better understand what your equipment's telling you and better understand your results in the field. Before we start talking about how this technology works, we need to understand what it is. And that's because there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to GNSS and GPS technology, because people will use the terms interchangeably. They'll say, hey, I'm using a GPS device right now, when in reality, they're actually using a GNSS device. And as we'll see in a later video when we talk about the differences between receivers, this is going to make a really big difference. So the important thing for you to understand is that GPS is the American system. It stands for Global Positioning System. It was the first system up in the air, and it is the one that is kind of the universal standard for a lot of devices. But there are three other global satellite systems that are available for you in the field, and those include the Russian GLONASS system, the Europeans Galileo, and the Chinese Beidou system. These four systems combined give us total global coverage 24/7. Now, we'll talk about the specific differences in those systems when we get to our next video, when we talk about what the difference between receivers are. But what we need to understand is that those four systems is what's going to provide the information that allows your receiver to calculate its position. So let's go head over to the whiteboard and see how we calculate a position. So what we need to understand is how we're actually getting a position from these satellites. We understand that there are a number of different constellations up in the sky, but what we want to now get to the point of is how we actually get our point. And to make it very simple, we're going to assume we have three satellites available, and we know that we are a certain amount of distance units from those satellites. So we know we're 10 units from this one, 14 from this one, and 12 from the bottom one. So what that's going to mean is that if we know we're 10 units from the satellite in the top left here, that means we could be anywhere kind of like this. Now, we could be anywhere on that arc from that satellite, but using the information from the other two satellites, so if again we assume we're 14 units away from this one, we're going to be somewhere like this. And then if we're 12 units from the one down here, we know we're going to be somewhere like this, which means that we have to be here. And that's very simply how our GNSS positioning works. Now, this process is called trilateration, and it's not as simple as I've made it seem with my 2D plane here, not just intersecting a point. We're going to be working in three-dimensional space off all of the satellites that we're connecting to. And then in addition to that, it is not quite as simple as solving for just the distance from these satellites. So let's go now take a look at what that would look like. As I mentioned, it's a lot more complicated to actually get your position out of a receiver. It's not just something where you can go, hey, I've got a line to this satellite and a line to that satellite and I can figure out where I am. You've got to remember, these satellites are hundreds of kilometers above your head. They're moving at hundreds, if not thousands of kilometers an hour. They're flying around and sending these signals out to you. And before those signals even get to you, they're hitting the atmosphere. They're getting reflected. If you're somewhere like an alley or a building or under trees, they're hitting these leaves. They're interacting. Your receiver's got to figure out what's a good signal and what's a bad signal, and that's very difficult. Now, there's some things that can help you do that, but what we got to understand before we talk about that in later videos is how these systems are set up to begin to help you mitigate for those errors and actually calculate your position. Now, there's three components that make up the satellite system and allow you to actually get a usable position, and that consists of the space, the ground, and the user segments. Now, with the space segment, it is what you think it is. It is the satellites flying up above you, and those satellites have a highly accurate atomic clock on board that sends down a timing signal that gives you that ability to calculate the distance from the satellite by calculating how long that signal has taken to arrive at you and comparing it to other satellites. Now, there's a variety of other information on those signals that we'll get into in the next couple of videos in our series, but to understand the important part, the satellites are flying up above. They tell you where they are, what they're doing, and the time, and your receiver can use that information to help calculate its position. The next critical part of our system is the ground component. And the ground component are these monitoring stations set all around the world to take into account the satellite signals, compare it to its known position, and send correction information back to the satellite to ensure that it is still running accurately and giving the proper information. Because at the end of the day, this is a massive amount of distance that these satellites are covering in the course of 24 hours or 48 hours over the course of the month as they perform orbits and orbits around the Earth. And they're going to drift a bit. It's not going to be perfect. So we need to be constantly adjusting the information that they're sending out. And the final component, obviously, is you, the user. The one with the receiver who's actually receiving those signals, who's getting that information from the satellite and calculating your position. All right, so let's quickly recap what we need to consider when we're calculating our position using a GNSS receiver. One is that the satellites that are up above are sending down a signal that the receiver is interpreting to determine how far away that satellite is. Once it solves how far it is away from 4 satellites, it's able to compute its position. And the reason we need 4 satellites, unlike the diagram I drew earlier where we only had 3 of them, is that signal that the satellite is sending out is sending a timing code. And that timing code means we have 4 unknowns that we have to solve for. So there's the distance to 3 satellites, and then we have to use a 4th one to compute the timing code to solve all 4 unknowns that we have.